Bonjour everyone, welcome back to Lineup Predictions here at the Magpie Channel TV, where we will be covering Newcastle United's game at home tomorrow night, St James's Park against Wolverhampton Wanderers, 8 p.m. kickoff on a Friday night. It was moved from that Saturday game, that was the original fixture, but now it's a Friday night kickoff, so it can be shown live on Sky Sports, but it will be also shown here, not necessarily live, but we will be reacting along to it with a live watch-along. It's back tomorrow. Big Renty will be covering the live watch along for us tomorrow night here at the Magpie Channel TV. 8th place, Wolves are sitting at the minute. Very good season for them. Just having a look at the league table there. And they're doing well. They're 12 points off 9th. So that top 8 is pretty much set in stone for them. Not too many games left of the season to go for them now. 12 points above the team below them. So yeah, 8th is probably the worst that they'll finish. And they are only 2 points off 6th. So while still pushing for a Europa League place, can very easily finish in Europe this season. While we sit in 15th, 7 points above the drop. So relatively comfortable. But the last 3 games ending up in a defeat makes it less comfortable, especially that shocker at the weekend against Tottenham. Need to start putting a few more points on the board. That 9-game unbeaten spell definitely broke away. I think before it was sitting in 19th, so we're rooted deep into it. But yeah, that 9-game in a row unbeaten spell definitely took the cushion away. But that 3-game loss has kind of put us back into it. Not really been looking too good. So we need to start putting some points on the board. Need to start getting a few more wins. A little bit of a difficult run in with Leicester and Crystal Palace being our next few games. A couple of other difficult teams. Some of the higher teams in the league towards the end of the season as well. So need to start getting them on the board right now. But Wolves, just having a look at their record, then, and it's been quite up and down despite where they are in the league. Very even the last few results. I was looking quite recent, and I noticed that the last 6 games was very 50-50. Won 3, lost 3. But I went a little bit further back, and actually it's 50-50 in the last 10 games. Won 5 and lost 5. The last few wins being against Aston Villa, Everton and Watford. And the last defeats were Leeds, Crystal Palace and West Ham. And I will start getting into how Newcastle and Wolves fare over the last few years. And draw is how we usually get on. 1-1 would be where my money is at, as it normally is. But they haven't actually drawn a game. It's only just been wins or losses since just before Christmas. 19th of December was the last time that Wolves drew in the Premier League. That was against Chelsea. So haven't been drawn too many recently. Only wins or losses. So hopefully we can get that W at St James's, as it is our first home game in 4 because of the little schedule that's come up. A couple of the games towards the end of last year in December, around about New Year's time when the COVID outbreak hit again. A couple of our away games were postponed. So they were put in between a couple more away fixtures. So our last 4 in a row Premier League games have all been away. So now we're back at St James's, and this is going to be the first of a run of 3 games at home at St James's. So back on home turf now for the next couple of weeks, which is good to see. And I've been looking at our record specifically against Wolverhampton Wanderers. And yeah, it hasn't been great. As I say, draw, and another fucking draw. We've played 13 times in Premier League history, as Wolves have quite often been in the Championship or lower leagues. We've spent a couple of years down there as well. So only 13 times we've came up against each other. 2 wins for Newcastle, 2 wins for Wolves, which for those mathematicians out there is 9 draws. 9 draws in 13 appearances. 2 wins each for us and Wolves, both 1 at home, 1 away for each of us respectively. Ours were a much longer time ago, though. We actually haven't beat Wolves in the Premier League since 2011. On the other end of 2 seasons, we beat them in March, so almost 11. Was that 11? Yeah, 11 years ago to the day was the last time we actually beat them at home at St James's. That was in April 2011, where it's the most convincing win, the most goals scored in a Premier League fixture between Newcastle and Wolves. We beat them 4-1 at St James's. Goals by Kevin Nolan, Shola Amiobi, Peter Lovenkrands, and Jonas Gutierrez saw that one through. That was at the end of the 2010-11 season, and right at the beginning of the 11-12 season, we beat them in October of 2011, 2-1, which is an all too familiar scoreline. As I mentioned, Wolves have beat us twice in Premier League history. Both have been quite more recently since we came back up from the Championship in 2017. They beat us on our turf. 2018 was the first time Wolves beat us at St James's. That was a 2-1 win. Doherty, who scored against us at the weekend, scoring a 94th minute winner for Wolves that day. And they beat us 2-1 at the Molineux earlier this season. Jeff Hendrick on the score sheet, while Korean striker Yi Chan scored the other two for Wolves. So that is our run-in there then. So, yeah, you draw. I think draw's a decent result for how I say they've been getting on. Decent results, not too bad. Let's say 50-50 wins and draws, but they are rooted in the top 8, pushing for a Europa League spot. So I think a draw against a team like that, especially after our last few games, the massive defeat to Spurs might have knocked our confidence a bit. So I think a draw would be a very respectable result there. So what is going on with Wolves? Only a couple of injuries, a couple with Newcastle as well. Not really too much to talk about on the absentee side of things. Raul Jimenez is suspended after a straight red card against Leeds 3 weeks ago to the day. 3 Fridays ago was the last time that they took a defeat. That was against Leeds, and Ruben Neves picked up a knee injury, went off after 25 minutes. So 2 of their key players there, Jimenez and Ruben Neves. So brilliant to see them out. Although we're keeping an eye on the Villa game where they actually beat them without Jimenez and Neves. So yeah, Villa, a tough team. Went out and got a win against them without 2 of their key players. So they've got reinforcements, got a good squad, got it going on quite well down there at Wolves. So need to keep an eye on them. Just because them 2 are out doesn't really mean shit. Not really a lot to talk about on the Newcastle side of things. The only thing is Joe Willock. Reports came out yesterday that he was picking up a bit of a knee injury and was a big doubt, expected to miss this game. But Eddie Howe did address that in his press conference this morning and said he's been carrying a slight knee problem for the last few weeks, but he's just been feeling it a little bit more in training recently. It's just been thought he's just been able to run it off, but hasn't quite been the case. So he is a doubt, but Eddie Howe says that they will make a late call on him, but don't think it's anything serious. So it's not going to be long term, but coming into this game, bit of a doubt, going to be a last minute decision on whether he plays or not. So I'll have to keep an eye out on the availability of Joe Willock. And he did mention that there is still illness in the squad, still didn't mention any names. There has been illness in the camp for 3 to 4 weeks. Quite a few players have been down with it. A few missed the Chelsea game, I think it was. So Maximin's been ill. Was it Willock? I don't know if it was Willock. I know Joe Linton. I think it was Shelvey, Fraser. They've all been down with injury, but been back since. All played in the game against Tottenham at the weekend. And did mention a couple of the other players in Saint-Maximin and Bruno Guimaraes. We'll get into Saint-Maximin first. A lot of doubts that's been mentioned about Saint-Maximin. Renty covered that in a video on the channel earlier this morning. But he says, I've got a great relationship with Maxi. I've really enjoyed working with him, and we need him to be at his very best levels. He could potentially be the difference. He's an incredible talent and, of course, has a long-term future at the club. And on Bruno, in light of Willock potentially being out, I think this pretty much spells that he's going to be a part of it. He says on Bruno, he's someone I've really enjoyed working with. He's very much a winner and has a great attitude to his training. With his flamboyance and technique comes a steeliness, which is huge in his position. So we'll see what happens tomorrow. I think that basically means that he's going to be in instead of Willock, even if Willock's fit. Might we'll rotate things a little bit. Might Shelvey or Joe Linton be a one to watch out for, potentially not being in the starting 11. We'll have to see about that. But that's about it in terms of all the pre-match chatter. Going to get into my lineup prediction there then. I'm going to talk you through it position by position. I'm going to go into the back line, and it's been a bit tough to call this one after the shambolic performance at Spurs. Have been considering moving things around a little bit. But I don't know. Let me know. I'm going to put on my team. Let me know in the comments if you do anything different. So I've gone like this. The only change from that Tottenham game being Emil Kraft coming in for Javier Manquillo. And I know I'm going to come on like a little bit of an Emil Kraft fanboy if you have been watching the videos for the past few weeks, months even. I've been picking up Emil Kraft, but it's not that I really, really like him or anything. It's just he gets more stick than I feel like he deserves. Like when everybody's fit, let's be honest, he's my third choice right back. Like how many third choice right backs are going to come into a team and be the best player on the field? That's rare in any position, even at the likes of City, Chelsea, Liverpool. Top teams don't have a class third choice right back, do they? So when he's come in, he was a big part of that 9-game unbeaten spell. Obviously, we lost Trippier during that, and we lost Manquillo for a short spell as well. Kraft came in, done his job, getting the results with him in the team. Yeah, he might have been the weak link, but done just enough to see it through. So yeah, I think Emil Kraft deserves more credit than he deserves. Personally, I really do think Manquillo's the better right back. I do think Manquillo's a very good player, and I would put him ahead of him in the pecking order. But he hasn't really been that great. I think he had a bit of a poor game against Tottenham. He done really well at the start of the run-in. I think that the run-in started at home against Man United, where he played left back, and I thought he was amazing with Kraft playing at the right back, and he had a pretty good game there as well. And the next appearance was a bit of a late sub for Manquillo in the win away to Leeds. Again, done amazing there. Just for a bit of a cameo, but he was class getting up and down the line. Got fouled on the edge of the box, which resulted in Shelby's goal for the winner. But since then, Manquillo hasn't really done a lot for me. So, yeah, for me, Emil Kraft comes in. No mention for Target too much anyway. We'll just say that everybody was poor against Tottenham. So I'm not going to pick out Target. But it was his worst game in a tune top. Let's not lie about that. But still, would you rather see him dropped for Dummett or Richie? Absolutely not. Everybody has bad games. So, yeah, Target's not going anywhere. But centre backs, will we change things? Will Lascelles come back? Seen a lot of criticism for Dan Burn recently. He was one of the ones who, when he first came into the team, one of our January signings, first couple of games, he was like the hero. He was like a hometown hero. Geordie boy, come back home. First few appearances, man of the match, class, everything that you could possibly want. But fingers being pointed at him in each of the last 3 defeats. I think the first 2, somewhat harsh, but he definitely was to blame. I feel the loss against Chelsea and Everton away, very late 1-0 defeats, very frustrating to lose them games. But when you look at it, he kind of was at fault for both of the goals there, really, wasn't he? Particularly Chelsea just let Havertz get the better of him, and Everton just came out of position to make the tackle, didn't make the tackle, left Shaw vulnerable in a one-on-one. And that was it. And then the Tottenham game was just abysmal. All ends up when he conceded 5 goals. Cannot really defend anyone in that, really, can you? So I don't know. Let me know. Should we change things up? Should we change formation? Go to a back 5? Bring Lascelles back? I know a lot of people are going to be in the comments claiming for Fernandes to be back, but he hasn't really been involved in the team for a long time yet, has he? I don't really know what the issue is with Fernandes. I don't know if it's injury or personal, or maybe he just can't get a place in the team. I don't know what the crack is with Fernandes, but yeah, should Lascelles come back? What should we do? What should we do? Centre midfield, I think I've already pretty much spoken what my prediction is going to be, with the assumption that Joe Willock will miss out on the starting 11 at least, may at least be involved from the bench. But Bruno will come in with Shelby as the captain in this. He'll stay in the middle with Joe Linton out on the left, and his Brazilian, whatever. Yeah, the Brazilian guy, Bruno, alongside him. So Bruno, Shelby, and Joe Linton as the midfield 3, with Willock missing out through a knee injury. And that's pretty much it. Not really much more to talk about there. Sean Longstaff is the only other option, but yeah, I don't really need to go much further into that. I know a lot of people were disappointed when Bruno didn't start against Tottenham, but came on, did okay for a little bit of a cameo, a little bit of a run out when we're already getting beat. He did all right. So yeah, Bruno comes back into the starting 11. And the front 3 rarely needs spoke about as well. When everybody's fit and healthy, Fraser and Saint-Maximin, absolutely. Wood, seen a lot of criticisms for him recently as well. He's had it since day one, really, because he hasn't been scoring the goals. Only one goal on for his Newcastle account so far. But yeah, you've been backing up his performances, saying he's been holding up the ball well, bringing players into the game, doing X, Y, and Z. But I don't know, it's getting a little bit harder to defend Chris Wood, I think, a little bit now. I think he does need to start doing a little bit more in my eyes. And I think I was one of the last ones to have his back when everyone's been slating him. He's not scoring goals, blah, blah, blah. I've been like, yeah, but a striker can do more than just score goals. He can bring people into the game. He can draw people in. He can make the better. When Murphy was there, he was bringing Murphy into the game, letting people attack and doing well. But yeah, the last couple of games, just haven't really seen that from Chris Wood. So being a little bit disappointed in him. But yeah, Maxi, as Eddie Howe mentioned earlier, he can be a game changer. Yes, he can be lazy. Yes, he doesn't track back. Yes, he needs to pass more. But when he's on form, he can be the absolute winner. And against teams like Wolves, like no disrespect to Wolves, like I said, that 8th push for Europa League. But anybody are in and around that bracket, like Palaces, Villas, Leeds, I don't know, Southampton's, teams like that. So he can be a real menace. He can really rip teams like that apart. He's shown it against teams like Burnley. And Brentford. So yeah, I think Maxi obviously got to start if he's fit, and Fraser on the other side. I'm a big fan of him. So that's my starting 11 there. Then we'll touch on the bench quite quickly. Manquillo is dropping to the bench with Darlow there as well. Lascelles, if he doesn't make the starting 11. Dummett and Ritchie, unused subs from the Spurs game with Longstaff and Murphy there too. As you can notice, no Joe Willock. I don't know if his knee injury is that serious to miss out on the squad completely, but I am just making this team for argument's sake. If he does miss the game, who have we got to replace him? And that's pretty much it. The only change there really is Miggy Almiron from the Spurs game. Away on international break with Paraguay, came back with a bit of a sickness bug. He was ill for that game, but is expected to be fit enough for this one. So Almiron is the one who replaces... it would have been Bruno from the Spurs game. That was the exact same bench with Bruno instead of Almiron. But Bruno goes into the starting 11 in place of Willock, and Willock misses out through knee injury. So Almiron comes in there with Gale as the striker. So that's my team there then, guys. Let me know what you think. Put your lineup predictions and score predictions in the comments below. I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw. Point on the board. Keep away from the bottom 3. Keep Everton down there because I love to say it. What a frisk. Let me know what you think. Like this video, please. Come back for the live watch along tomorrow. Make sure you subscribe to the channel as well. Thanks for watching, everyone. Enjoy yourself.